Today, we're going to have a presentation, and later on, there will be a Q&A session wherein, they have agreed to answer to our queries as well. To begin this session, may I welcome on stage Mr. Hamad Hisham Al-Shirawi to begin the session with the presentation. A warm welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Sibi, and thank you to the IBPC for putting this together. First of all, good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming to this session. Thank you for your interest in Expo 2020. Before I start off and go through the details, just wanted to get a bit of hands on expos. How many people here have been to any of the World Expos in the past? Just a show of hands. Okay, so just out of curiosity, can I know which expo? Milan, Shanghai. Anyone else? Oh, Milan. Okay, so it seems that some of you have been to. Good. Some of you have been to some of the World Expos. So if you don't mind, I'll be actually just giving you a bit of background on the history of World Expos. So just to step back into history. So. In the past, World Expos have been known to be, when you step into them, as if you stepped into the future. Some of the world's inventions and innovations have been first showcased to the world at a World Expo. So think of the X-ray, Braille, the television, the telephone. All of these were first showcased to the world at a World Expo, among others. There are obviously other ones which are also a bit interesting, like ketchup and the ice cream cone. Expos take place once every 5 years and are known to be one of the three mega events alongside the Olympics, and it's known to be one of the three. It's not up yet. Alongside the Olympics and the FIFA World Cup. Though what distinguishes World Expos obviously is that it brings the world together. Rather than it being a competition, it brings the world together to help create synergies globally. So the very first World Expo took place in 1851 in London, and the legacy of that expo is the South Kensington area, which today hosts some of the world's renowned institutions like the V&A Museum, the Imperial College. This is how it looks like today. Obviously, there's been multiple expos since then. Expos have been known to showcase iconic architecture. So many of you probably know the Eiffel Tower, but not many know that the Eiffel Tower was actually built to be a gate for the 1889 Paris World Expo. So, and today the Eiffel Tower sits as the most famous landmark of France. Likewise with the Atomium in Belgium. Each expo obviously has its theme, and our theme at Expo 2020 Dubai is Connecting Minds, Creating the Future. I'll be telling you a bit more shortly. We have two major objectives at Expo. One is to deliver an exceptional expo, and the other is to leave a meaningful legacy. When we talk about an exceptional expo, we talk about an iconic site. An immersive visitor experience, securing over 190 nations to the expo, and providing a seamless journey. Now, when we chose where the site of the expo took place, it was very carefully studied. So the Expo 2020 Dubai is located within Dubai South, which is equidistant between Abu Dhabi and Dubai International Airports, and also right across from one of the world's busiest ports, the Jebel Ali port, and as well right next door to Al Maktoum International Airport. Now, I told you our theme is Connecting Minds, Creating the Future. We have three sub-themes, which are opportunity, mobility, and sustainability. You can see these three sub-themes coming to life as three districts, all connected at a midpoint called the Al Wasl Plaza. Each district is also anchored by three district pavilions. The Al Wasl Plaza in the center is a 360 dome trellis that hosts most of our festivities and events throughout the expo. And you can see right next door is our beautiful UAE pavilion shaped like a falcon. The self-built pavilions will be here on the periphery on the outside, and then the ones part of a rented program will be within the districts themselves. We also will have which is pretty much almost completed, which is the Route 2020 metro station, which will connect directly to the Al Wasl Plaza as well. And there's the conference and exhibition center over here, and the Expo Village, which will be accommodation for the staff manning the site throughout the 6 months. And just to kind of zoom in on these structures a bit closer, these are the 3 district pavilions. You have the Mobility Pavilion, which is built by Foster & Partners, a UK architectural and design firm. Opportunity with Cox Architecture, an Australian firm, and the Sustainability Pavilion, which will be completely off the grid, built by the UK company Grimshaw. This is also a closer look at the UAE Pavilion, which is again shaped like a falcon. If you can see the wings towards the front, built by Santiago Calatrava, a Spanish architect. And again, this is the Al Wasl Plaza. Like I said, it is the midpoint between the 3 districts. Al Wasl is also the old name for Dubai, and as an Arabic word, Wasl means the connection or the midpoint. Hence, Dubai's location as a midpoint and a transit point, but also the midpoint between the 3 districts. I just want to show you a video, which. Because of how quick, obviously, construction moves, even though this is not so long ago, but now this video actually feels a bit outdated. Khalid and I, we get to see the site on a daily basis, and it's just impressive how on a daily basis the construction continues to, our view continues to change. So let me just show you the video a bit. Thank you. We're still not done yet, though. Okay, so now moving on from the site to the nations that are participating to the Expo. We expect over 25 million visits to the Expo, 70% of which are expected to be international. Now, let's put this in context and in comparison with some of the previous Expos that some of you have actually been to. So in Milan, they had 30% international. And in Shanghai, less than 6% international, and with Hanover even, again, 6. And now when we compare that with, Dubai's expectation of over 25 million visits international and 70%, over 25 million visits, out of which 70% are international, we can truly say that this is the first truly global and international expo, with majority of the visits being international. Now, from a participation side, Milan had 145, China 189. So now, when we compare that with Expo 2020, we're pleased that over 190 countries have confirmed, and that's 190 countries confirmed to the Expo. Some of which have already publicly announced. Here are just a few of the countries that have, so you can expect the whole world to be there. You have countries, from Chile to, much smaller countries like Nauru and Tuvalu who are actually participating to the Expo. And each country, this will be the first Expo where every country will have its own pavilion. There will not be a cluster of pavilions. So every country will get to showcase its unique story to the world. Here are just some of the designs that have been announced of some of our participants. And every country gets to showcase its story with its pavilion. So Luxembourg, for example, is very known around its space exploration or focus around the space industry and space resources, and hence you can see how the pavilion actually has its shape inspired by spaceship or around space activity. And now, obviously, the visitor experience is very important to us. Expos, we say, are open to everyone, people of all ages, backgrounds, and of all interests. We sometimes say that expos are open to everyone, from toddlers all the way to heads of states. And now to enrich these 6 months of the Expo, between 10 to 15,000 events are being put together throughout the 6 months. And these events could range from opening ceremonies and entertainments and parades, all the way to ones that are part of specific categories such as business, gastronomy, and science. Now, I spoke about the first main objective, which is to deliver an exceptional expo. Now, the second part is to leave a meaningful legacy. And by that, we mean a physical, economic one, and a reputational. This is how the site looks like during the 6 months. And now I'll show you just a short video that will showcase to you kind of how the transition and the transformation will look like post-Expo. The name of the city is District 2020, and we always say that we are not just building an event, we're building a city, an integrated city that the beginning of its life is a 6 months global and mega event. We're pleased to share with you two of our first tenants to District 2020. Siemens has announced moving its global logistics headquarters from Munich to District 2020. And Accenture has committed to opening up an innovation hub in District 2020. Now, obviously, with an event of the scale and size, the involvement of the business community is imperative. We've had multiple outreach in the past where we've involved the business community and heard their feedback and input, even when it comes to some of the, ahead of some of the opportunities from Expo or the packages from Expo. We got to hear their input around specific topics and around specific areas. So just one of the platforms that which are actually live is the online marketplace. It's an online interactive tool that allows for companies to dynamically connect with one another, work with one another, and also not only that, but it will also allow companies access to opportunities from Expo, as well as from our partners, contractors, and possibly some government entities. And we at Expo have a commitment of allocating 20% of our total budget to SMEs. And this will be a platform where we can get to emphasize that commitment to SMEs. So now just to kind of show you just a bit of numbers on registration. So from India, we currently have 625 companies registered on our portal. Again, these are numbers of companies that are based in India. So any company that is based in the UAE will fall under the category of the UAE here. But I highly recommend, so I'm not sure if you guys got the chance to see the URL of the online marketplace. It's listed here. Again, access to opportunities, access to, again, network with one another. It's a great platform. So feel free, if you guys want to just take a photo of the URL, or feel free to speak to me post this session. I'll be more than happy to, again, share with you the URL, and I'll be sharing it with the organizers from IBPC to shoot it across to everyone. Again, so we spoke about some of the platforms, on the journey towards the event. Now, obviously during the event, there are also lots of opportunities for businesses to get involved. We expect between 3,000 to 9,000 business visitors per day. And not only that, but a lot of the participating nations are represented by business entities, and hence most of the participants have a business objective in their participation. And we'd like to actually, help facilitate these opportunities, help capitalize on that. So, when it comes to the events, I know I spoke about some of the other programs, but business is also very important to us. And there will be events that will be developed by Expo, and then obviously ones that are led by others. And bearing in mind the number of visitors, the number of high-level business delegations, the number of entities that will be there, this will be a great platform for businesses to connect with one another. And again, certain countries have objectives like connecting their country with a specific country where trade could be developed. This would be a great platform to utilize that. And we'd actually love to hear from everyone here. As we've done before, we would like to capitalize on the opportunity of hearing what the business community from India wants or expects to make out of Expo. And again, this is always a dialogue, and I'm opening this up to you. If you guys want to share some of your feedback now, share some of your feedback as we network, share some of your feedback later on. We'd like to hear from you on your input on what you'd like to make out of, or what you expect out of Expo. Thank you very much.
Good morning, and thank you so much for your presentation and insight with respect to Expo 2020. And on behalf of IBPC and the members over here, I would like to thank you and your colleague. As we know that October 2020, this Expo is going to start. So till that date, around 20 months are there. How, as an Indian diaspora and the IBPC and the community, we can be part of it to promoting Expo within our network, our context, because here the business leaders are there who are having the businesses across the globe, professionals who are providing the services, they are also connected globally. Like I'll just give you example, I'm part of CROMAC, one of the senior partner. We are across the globe in more than 110 plus countries. So how we can involve ourselves in promoting, because we all are in UAE and staying in Dubai. So Dubai is close to our heart, and we want to see that this become a memorable for all of us, and it remains in our memory for lifelong. And already I have requested to your colleague, with respect to this Expo badge, if your good office can supply for all of us, and we would like to promote Expo 2020 and be part of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. First of all, thank you for having us here. It's our pleasure to be with you all. And I'd like to start by answering your question by saying Expo 2020 is not for Dubai. Expo 2020 is for everyone. It's for the region. It is your Expo more than it is my Expo or anyone that's working in Expo 2020 or anyone living in Dubai or in the region. So we want everyone to become an ambassador for Expo because everyone should benefit from Expo, right? It's not only about innovations and the journeys that you will see within countries, but also the connections that you will make. For those of you who are traders, you can expand your trade networks through some of the events that will happen, through some of the businesses that will come, through some of the delegations that will come. And we hope that everyone here becomes a spokesperson on behalf of Expo and talk about Expo as it's your own event, because we can't do this on our own. And inshallah, we will support as much as possible where we can, whenever we can. We will be there to talk about Expo to your colleagues, to your friends, to your families, because this is an event for everyone. Like Hamad said in his presentation, from the toddler that will come there, we will have school students, we will have heads of state, we will have ministers, we will have businessmen, we will have families. So there is a range of attractions for everyone that will happen there. And wherever we can support, we will definitely be there. I try to shake hands with as much people as possible and give out as much of my business cards today, but please, if I haven't, please, I'd love to meet you after we're done with the Q&A session.
Sabah al-Khair.
Sabah al-Ful.
Alan. My name is Ramesh Bhatia. My company is Waterman, Rajul al-Maya. We are involved and we are proud to be very little part of 2020 by offering water treatment businesses, swimming pools, lakes and fountains with very major contractors like Wade Adams, Arab Tech and other leading consultants. They visited our company to pre-qualify us, and we are doing it, but that is not the end of it. I suggest, as my friend Nimit told you, that we should have close joint association with you, what we are doing, what you want us to do, because this is my country. Thank you very much.
No, when it comes to, let's talk about procurement first of all. We're building this site, right? It's around $7 billion plus. That is our budget that's going into building this or constructing the city. And the supply chain that's involved with this project is massive. We have, I'd say, probably more than 50 contractors that are on site, including subcontractors, subcontractors, and this will continue on going until Expo, during Expo, and even after Expo. Because during the Expo, the countries are coming. The countries are building their pavilions as well. So there are around, I'd say, 60 to 80 countries that will build their own pavilions. And you know, I heard today that many of you know that the Indian pavilion is going to be one of the biggest pavilions on site, and we're very proud of that. And it shows that the relationship is always growing and prospering as it should be. But even after we close our doors on 10th of April 2021, a new journey starts. There is a 4 to 6 month transition period into District 2020. District 2020 is going to be a new free zone, an urban development that you'll have a lot of companies from different backgrounds. Like Hamad mentioned, we have Siemens. Siemens is one of the biggest companies in the world, and they said we will move our international logistics headquarters from Munich in Germany to District 2020 in Dubai. That shows that this is a new city that's coming. It's a new, it's a new opportunity for everyone, and the growth for the city and for everyone that lives here.
Yeah, good morning. Let me begin with congratulating you for a courageous step you have taken for this Expo 2020, despite of the, earlier aspirations and doubts about this success of this event, which happening during this global recession and all that. That was the beginning of this. When it was announced, there was a lot of aspirations about the success. But I believe you have done a very tremendous good job in this matter. My question will be about the SMEs. The gentleman mentioned about it, that how the participation of the SMEs in this will be beneficial to them.
Thank you very much for your kind words. Yeah, sure.
So, first of all, thank you for the kind words, and Swai Khalid for interrupting. I think, or actually not I think, SMEs are known to be a global driver of economic growth. And Expo seeks to, to support that by committing its budget, 20% of its budget to SMEs. So, Expo seeks to be a benchmark on a lot of matters, and out of which is, supporting SMEs. And again, not only by committing 20%, but we've also leveled the playing field for SMEs. Corporates have different resources when compared to SMEs, whether that is on certain procurement requirements, such as advance payments, guarantees, and any other resource commitments for that require SMEs to lock down the resources for longer. So we've kind of leveled down the playing field for SMEs to become more suitable to them. And the online marketplace is the key tool that we utilize to help support that cause. Because SMEs can not only just participate to opportunities, but they can actually work together. So if there are any opportunities where it requires much more resources, much more people, the platform actually is not a one-way, just Expo to community, but it's actually dynamic. It allows for SME 1 and SME 2 and SME 3 to actually connect with one another and work together and participate together for an opportunity. So you can imagine the level of interactivity that this will allow for SMEs to work together. So I hope I've answered your question in terms of how we've supported.
So a mega event like Expo is a showcase for countries. The countries that come and showcase their pavilions. What goes inside their pavilions is completely up to them. But it's a journey that showcases, like Hamad said, that like the specific Expo, we're talking about mobility, sustainability, and opportunity. So India will come and showcase what's their best advancements in mobility or in sustainability, or what's a new thing that they want the world to know about India in terms of the showcase. But in terms of retail, there are 3 or 4 big retail pavilions that will go in Expo, but those will be only for Expo branded products. It will be for products that the country wants to sell through their pavilion, like things that go in gift shops, these items. But in terms of how can you as an SME benefit from Expo? Sadly, you cannot have a booth or have a space as a company to showcase your products or during Expo, but that is why we are putting a dynamic program together for you to benefit as much as possible from the connectivity that you can make throughout the 6 months. You have 190 countries, you have the whole world there. So we want to facilitate as much as possible platforms for you to be able to grow, to make connections, and to prosper. with the city.
Good morning, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Amit from Prisma Advertising. I would say congratulations. You have put a lovely portal up. I think it will answer his question as well. You can go and register on that portal as an SME, and I think you would be visible to all those who are participating in the expo itself. My second question is as a director consultant of BNI, which is the biggest networking organization in the world. We are in 75 countries with over 250,000 members. So we convene in a country every year. So this year it was Thailand, next year it would be Poland. And I think it would be a good opportunity to convene during 2020 at Dubai. Because not only we will interact with each other, being a networking organization, we can interact with whoever is coming for the Expo 2020. How can we take it forward with you to organize this event? Last event had around 10,000 people attending it, and I'm sure if it merges with Expo, we can get around 25,000 people coming for the event during the Expo to Dubai. I would like to know how I can take it forward between the two organizations. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your kind words, sir. Definitely that's something that's possible. I don't know if we can pull up the slide of the Expo site again, but we as part of the facility and the development that we're making, we have an exhibition center that has more than 45,000 square meters of exhibition space for conferences and exhibitions and even events that will happen during the 6 months. So definitely this is something that's possible. We can discuss it. We have a dedicated team for events that are existing and want to take place at the Expo site during the 6 months. And so you see that big building there at the entrance of the metro. That's our conference center. We actually haven't announced it yet, but it will be called Dubai Exhibition Center. And across the site also there are different venues. We have a total of 15 venues. I mean, your event, 10,000 people, is definitely something that could go in the exhibition center, but for your information also, the 15 venues across the site can host events where there are 2 outdoor venues, there are parks, there are entertainment stages, there is a wasl, where a lot of these activations and performances will happen throughout the 6 months, whether it's put by Expo or by the participants, the countries.
Good morning. I am an entrepreneur and we have manufacturing companies in India, Saudi Arabia and Dubai. I want to talk about the manufacturing companies in this area, that how they can participate and whom they have to contact. And suppose our Indian company want to participate, whom they have to contact and what is the procedure?
Thank you for your question. I mean, the first step into getting into the Expo supply chain is registering on the online marketplace. That is key because everything literally goes there, from if I want to buy a bottle of water to if I want to build a building on site. Everything goes through the procurement portal. There is a 24/7 support line from our procurement department that are tentative to all queries. And even if you personally want to come and meet the procurement team, that's something that's possible as well. You just get in touch with us and we will put you in touch with them. They will be more than happy to sit with you. So through this link, it's a very easy website that's recently been launched. Very easy to maneuver through. Are we in the way of your pictures? Let's get out of the way. I see people from there taking photos and I'm sure I'm in the way.
Good morning. I really appreciate, as well as I'm very thankful for the initiative taken by the leadership as well as the organizers for this event. It's really directly as well as indirectly getting a lot of benefit for the nation as well as other nearby countries. I represent a company called Xeon Lighting Technologies, and we are mainly into LED lighting consultation as well as how we can reduce energy consumption. Being UAE one of the main shopping arena, there are a lot of retail shops as well as a lot of energy consumption is happening. So I would like to ask you that being a UAE made product, how we can be well recognized in the various kinds of project in lighting field, in the indoor as well as outdoor lighting projects, as well as how is there any policy which is made out to support the UAE made product in the short term as well as in the long term, and how we can make use of this event during this event as well as after this event. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for your question. Actually, as a project, as Expo 2020 project, we are very, and obviously because one of our sub-themes is also sustainability, what we are building, we are keen on it being as sustainable as possible. For example, you saw the sustainability pavilion is 100% off the grid. Our site has 50% of energy that will come from the sun, renewable sources, and we are keen on sustainability throughout. And now if you're following our social media channels, you'll see this week, because it's Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week also, a lot of our sustainability initiatives and projects are being showcased. In terms of how can you showcase your products and have it recognized, again, the gateway is the online marketplace where you can connect with us. And in terms of Expo 2020's construction and fit outs and technologies, I mean, we're almost done with our construction. Our construction is going to be complete in October this year. But the participating countries have yet to start their construction, especially for the temporary buildings that are going, the temporary pavilions. So I would urge every single one of you to register your companies on the online marketplace. And if we can help you, you want to come in to meet our procurement team, we will be more than happy to facilitate a meeting for you.
And if I can add to that, so one way is obviously there are certain opportunities that are launched by Expo, but on the online marketplace you will also be able to see opportunities launched by some of our contractors. So our contractors are listed, and I'm sure our procurement team will be more than happy to share some of our larger contractors, because obviously some of the business happens directly from Expo to certain businesses, and sometimes it's subcontracted by some of our larger contractors on site. So again, yeah, the online marketplace is the best gateway, and if there are any further questions, we're happy to make that inquiry with our procurement team.
Hi, good morning. Quick question. What is the proposed plan of the site post-Expo 2020? Since we're talking about sustainability, how does this plan to be used?
So, so the site will actually be built on LEED Gold standards so just to highlight from a sustainability perspective. But again, so the standards of which the site is built remains as is. So if you saw the video that we shared, 80% of our site will remain. It's just going to be repurposed and reutilized. And a lot of the principles and values that we place throughout the event remains in principle post Expo.
Good morning. For a mega event such as Expo, you are going to require good governance processes to make sure everything runs smoothly. Are you likely to float, or have you already floated tenders for professional services in this area in terms of VAT, internal audit, external audit, advisory services, etc.? And would companies in UAE get a chance to submit proposals for these services?
Definitely. Thank you for your question. I mean, we're a team of 1,000 plus people right now who are in the office back in Jebel Ali. And all these processes and procedures have been put in place early on back in 2014 when we established the LLC officially. And they keep on changing, and because it's a dynamic environment. Most of you know, like in projects, it evolves with time. As we get closer to the deadline, things change, processes change. So these are evolving and changing as we speak on daily or a daily basis maybe. And where external help is required, definitely it goes out to market through the online marketplace as well. We have a lot of services that we get from consultancy, from advisory boards, etc., that go out to market.
Thank you.
Thank
Sia.
you. Yes.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation. In fact, today I've attended to know what's happening in the Expo 2020. As you said, one thing is we all have to be a brand ambassadors of Expo 2020 for the very fact that we've been living in Dubai for a long time. But still, what it does, what's the purpose of this 2020 is not being aware to most of the public actually. Okay, I think some kind of a media, to know what actually 2020 is meant for. Okay, is it exhibition or is it a participation? As the gentleman asked, suppose if a company from India has to participate, do they need to approach their Indian counterpart or they need to register here? Okay, that is still not clear. Second is, I represent a company called MCA. We are quite present in India. Literally, we are there in every metro, and predominantly we are very strong in South. So we want to, educate our clientele there. What is that? Do you have any material or something which you can share so that we can share with our clients or something? Yeah.
Thank you very much for your question. I'll start with the awareness and people knowing about Expo. Now, there are two parts to it. There's the companies and the business community, and there's the general public. When it comes to the general public, back in 2013, when all the buzz happened, right? Every single grocery store had the Expo logo on it. Everyone was carrying, every plastic bag had the Expo logo on it. Everyone had it hanging on the building, on the company, on the business card, correct? You all remember that. That was required, and that helped Dubai a lot in winning the bid to Expo. But imagine in 2015 or 2016 that we go out on a campaign and start exciting people about Expo and exciting. How long can we go and excite people for an event that will happen in the end of 2020? So inshallah, now that we have less than 2 years to go, you're going to start to see more and more on Expo 2020 because the time is ticking. We have less than 2 years, and inshallah from May or from the summer onwards until 2020, you will see more and more. And then when the clock hits 1 year to go, that's when the huge buzz is going to happen. And when it comes to businesses and companies being part of the supply chain, being an international event, we started engaging with the business community back in 2016. That's when we really launched our business platforms and engagement. And every country, every representing body of a country would also promote this link and the opportunities that are going out from Expo, from them directly to their business community. And definitely these slides will be shared through IBPC to everyone.
Just curious about one thing, how costly it will be for the general public to visit?
Our tickets, the pricing has not been announced yet, but it will be fair. It won't be like entering Global Village, not 15 dirhams. It's safe to say that there will be different types of tickets. There will be a day pass, there will be a 3-day pass, a week pass, a season's pass, etc. But inshallah, very soon you will know. And I'm sure you will be pleased.
Good morning, gentlemen. I have a question. My name is Deepak Ahuja. I'm a long-term banker here and educationist. We've seen those numbers on the slide, about 25 million visits. Just want to get a little more in depth of how we want to achieve that 25 million, and is there a map for that? There are visitors from different countries where numbers have been projected. If you can share some details on that one.
So the numbers that have been calculated are in line with Dubai's overall tourism statistics. So if you've kept up with DTCM's numbers in terms of visitation across the past few years and the expected numbers in 2020, it's in line with those numbers, and they have a breakdown per year of how many visitors come from each country, and India being, I believe, the #1 source of tourists and visitors. The numbers are publicly accessible on their website. So, in specific to Expo, I'm sure it will not be too far in terms of, the breakdown, but the numbers are in line, as I mentioned.
Also, I'd like to say this number is very conservative, by the way. It's 25 million visits. That includes repeat visitation. So as unique people, you're talking 17 to 18 million unique people that will come. 70% of which will come from outside, which is 12 million. And Dubai in 2020 itself will get, the projection is 20 million visitors throughout from January to December. And Expo is going to happen from October 2020 and go into 2021. And by the way, 2021 is the year that the UAE will celebrate 50 years. So the celebrations for the Golden Jubilee are going to start also in Expo. And it is also the year that the Mars probe is going to reach Mars. So it's a huge year for the UAE and for everyone. I think we have a question in the back.
Yes. I'm proud to be a non-resident Indian, and Dubai is my second home. Taking the entire Expo 2020 to a certainly different level, I'd like to seek your inputs. Traditional expos have obviously been on the format of exhibition, cultural exchanges, business tie-ups, visibility, a bit of PR. But in my opinion, I see the Expo 2020 beyond all of that. It's obviously in the right place at the right time for the right reasons. And therefore, my question is, post 6 months, post Expo 2020, has there been any thought put into place to establish an official think tank under the government to forge public-private partnerships, not just for the UAE, but for our close partners such as India, regions with Europe, as well as with the UAE, for the GCC region as well, given the other situations happening in the region. Obviously, Dubai has a competitive advantage. So basically, my brief question is, what's the scope for PPPs post-Expo for economic advancement, for bridging the gaps that exist currently, for technological advances, for fintechs, for education, etc.?
Thank you very much for your question. And with regards to post-Expo, when you're talking about District 2020, and I can say that there is a team in place that's looking at everything you just mentioned. And we're looking at establishing fintechs, bringing fintechs, establishing incubators, and focusing on education, logistics, real estate, tourism, the Internet of Things, big data, and unfortunately we're not yet at liberty to talk about what the plans are because they have not been officially announced, but in the very near future a lot of these initiatives and programs that are being planned are going to go out to market. And I'm sure you will be pleased. I can say by end of 2019, you're going to hear much more about District 2020 and the initiatives and platforms that are going out to market. My pleasure.